Today's recipe comes from the Moosewood Cookbok by Katzen. Copyright 1977, another one of Mom's well-bookmarked cookbooks. And today we're going to be making spaghetti squash with fresh spaghetti squash from the garden, or, you know, as fresh as I can coming out of the root cellar. This is an interesting cookbook. It has a little description of what you're cooking. Also known as vegetable spaghetti, this summer squash baffles many people who grow it or buy it, then take it to their kitchens and wonder what to do next. And I can honestly say that. It is not like zucchini, nor is it like winter squash. Once baked or boiled, the insides of this squash, of this strange vegetable, are strand-like. The size and shape of spaghetti, but with a slightly crunchy, delightful texture. The flavor is buttery and slightly sweet. You can serve it topped with tomato sauce and cheese, as you would regular spaghetti. It isn't starchy. Or you can build a casserole. Here is a recipe for a spaghetti squash casserole. 1.5 hours to prepare, 4 to 6 servings. Ingredients: 1 8-inch spaghetti squash, 1 cup of chopped onions, 2 medium cloves crushed garlic, 2 fresh tomatoes, medium size. I'm going to be using a can of diced tomatoes, 1/2 pound of fresh sliced mushrooms. So I'm going to be replacing that with 1 pound of diced beef, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, salt and pepper, butter for the saute, 1 cup cottage or ricotta cheese, 1 cup grated mozzarella, 1/4 cup of freshly chopped parsley, 1 teaspoon of basil, a dash of thyme, 1 cup of fine breadcrumbs. Preheat oven to 375 degrees. Slice the squash in half lengthwise and scoop out the seeds. Bake it face down on a buttered tray at 375 degrees for about 30 minutes, or until easily pierced by a fork. Cool until handleable, scoop out the insides. While the squash bakes, saute the onions and garlic with salt, pepper, mushrooms, and herbs. When onions are soft, add freshly chopped tomatoes. Cook until most of the liquid evaporates. Combine all ingredients. Pour into a buttered 2-quart casserole, top with lots of grated Parmesan. I'm going to be skipping that. And bake at 375 degrees uncovered for 40 minutes. Gave it the requisite time and let it cool down in the stove for a while. It does look good. Modified the recipe a little bit. I added way too much ricotta cheese. The recipe called for a cup of ricotta. I probably put closer to 4 cups of ricotta. Oh well, you can't add too much ricotta. I didn't use the Parmesan. Instead, I used more mozzarella. I had mozzarella in the fridge. Thank you, Benson and Denise. And I just had to get rid of it. Also added about 1/4 teaspoon of fennel. So when you're dealing with, I saw where the recipe was going. Tomatoes, basil, thyme, oregano, similar to our family spaghetti sauce, so I thought I'd just add fennel. Can't go wrong with fennel, love fennel. But let's see what we got here. It's a lot. Yeah, it's, you can see that I use way too much oregano. I mean, way too much ricotta, but still, so the spaghetti squash is no longer really the focus of the recipe. The spaghetti sauce now is just one ingredient in something else. Actually, this would make a good filler for a lasagna. The modifications work. It's still a great casserole. Today's recipe came from the Moosewood Cookbok by Katzen. Copyright 1977. And it was spaghetti squash. Another one of Mom's well-bookmarked cookbooks.